What is up, my Among Us themed birthday party enthusiasts? What is each class's worst weapon? This video has definitely been done multiple times before, but I figured I'd get my own 2 cents on it. Just a couple things that I'll say before I start the list. This is most definitely my opinion, so if you disagree, don't get your panties in a twist. In general, I'll be basing the list off of the weapon's effectiveness, not necessarily if it's unfun to use or badly designed like other lists. The Scorch Shot, for example, is terribly designed, but because of how effective it is, it won't be on the list. I also won't be including jumper weapons because they were intentionally designed to be worse than stock. I'll be taking the weapon's slot into account. For example, if a weapon's just totally useless, you'd rather have it in the slot rather than the... I also won't be comparing the weapons to overpowered weapons in that slot. Like, I don't think the stock bone saw is necessarily bad because it isn't the Uber saw. With that out of the way, let's get into it. Honestly, I don't think the B.A.S.E Jumper is that bad compared to other weapons on this list. You're only sacrificing your shotgun, or in Demo's case, your second primary, and it still can be somewhat useful. I mean, if you wanted to, you could carpet bomb as Demo, or just be a slightly less effective pocket soldier. It's definitely the least terrible thing on this list. Yeah, the caver. This thing used to be broken good. Remember when you could sticky jump across the map and one-shot a medic? Yeah, I wasn't around then, but I guess you could still do that at that time. Well, it got nerfed to shit, and nerfed to shit it was. God damn, this thing is terrible. Now, because of the damage fall off, it does 124 damage, leaving light classes on 1 health. It's also bugged as hell. Use this weapon for an extended period of time and you'll see how. I mean, it's not totally useless, you can still go. Although generally, Demo is still one of the strongest classes in the game, even if he doesn't have his melee, which lands a caver in this spot. Again, if you don't take into account a certain weapon, the overdose really isn't that bad. I mean, if you have full Uber, you can run slightly faster while not healing people, which is nice, I guess. I mean, you could just heal the scout for similar effect. Honestly, it's fine. Medic has nothing that's too underpowered. The problem is that Medic has things that are definitely overpowered. The Darwin's Danger Shield. It's there. You can equip it. It does basically nothing. I mean, you can trade an SMG for resistance to flares. Yeah, I really have nothing to say about it. Although regarding snipers' other bad weapons, I still think there's definitely some use to them. Yeah, here's where the list really starts. The gas passer is god-awful. This thing has basically no use. It heavily suffers from the sharpened volcano fragment syndrome. Newsflash, Pyromaniac Man does arson already. The last thing Pyro needs is something that does literally just afterburn. Easily the worst part though is that I think this could be a really cool combo weapon. The thing is, it just doesn't. First of all, people coated in gas aren't considered wet, meaning it doesn't combo with the Neon Annihilator, and it only does afterburn after you've done damage, meaning it doesn't combo with things like the Extinguisher or the Dragon's Fury. Hell, not even the Sun on a Stick combos with this thing. And on top of that, you sacrifice a shotgun or a flare, and also it recharges very slowly. The red tape recorder. Why does this weapon exist? It actually just does the sapper's job, but worse. I guess if you're up against an engineer who's really on top of his shit, then you can knock his buildings down a level, but other than that, there's really no use. I mean, it still disables buildings, but you may as well just be using stock. Heavy melees have a bit of a conundrum. They either provide utility for the heavy and are way better than stock, or they have barely any downside and are still way better than stock. Why does the balancing of heavy melees generally not seem to apply? Well, to put it simply, heavy is just terrible at melee. Even if they're incredibly unbalanced, you're still just better off shooting them. I say that because somehow I've managed to create a heavy melee that's actually worse than stock. The warrior spirit is just not useful at all. The upsides do absolutely nothing. Not only are there better options to do damage, but there are also better options for healing. Combine that with a 30% damage vulnerability, and it definitely deserves the reputation of being one of just the worst weapons in the whole game. The reason it isn't lower is because you can just not pull it out. In fact, you'll notice in all these clips, I don't even pull out the weapon once, which is basically the best way to use this thing. The Bison. Oh god, the Bison. I mean, what do I have to say that hasn't been said already? Instead of a goddamn shotgun, you can use a glorified Nerf gun. I was thinking of putting the equalizer in this spot, but hell, at least you can build Uber with it? Yeah, Bison, what did you expect?
But that was too soft.
You thought the Bison was bad? Imagine having it in your primary slot. The Thompson is basically the same, except it doesn't pierce players, and I guess you can pester medics and spies with it. Yeah, this gun gives NG no favors, especially when he puts so much more emphasis on his shotgun. And I said pester medics and spies before? Yeah, imagine hitting the second fastest classes in the game with this thing. Good luck. This thing. How have people been sleeping on this weapon for so goddamn long? The candy cane is the worst weapon in the game, and it's not even close. All the other weapons on this list, although they are pretty bad, you can still use them without being punished for it. You cannot say that for the candy cane though. It is the only weapon in the game where you are actually punished for equipping it. 25% damage vulnerability to explosives, and all you get is a goddamn small health pack. Not only is the downside brutal as hell and also passive, but the upside barely does anything because if you need a health pack, you can just run away. It is a weapon that punishes you during fights and only rewards you after you've won. God, I just cannot emphasize enough. It is the only weapon in the game where equipping it is worse than having no melee at all. This weapon definitely deserves the #1 spot. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to do all the YouTube algorithm stuff, including comments. Let me know how you thought of the video. Did you completely disagree? Do you hate my living being and soul? Any comments are appreciated. I'll also have my trade link below. If you want to donate any items, they'll be greatly appreciated. Every little bit helps. And that's it. Thanks for watching.